Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. Thank you for joining us today on our newest edition of EverWorker Live, where today we're going to be interviewing Vlad, who we have interviewed multiple times at this point, about a data normalization AI worker that he has created. But before we get into all of that, just some quick housekeeping for everybody, just in case anyone's interested too, if you'd like to be as involved as we would like for you to be, which we would like for you to be very involved, we encourage you all to leave comments, throw things in the chat. Like I already see someone threw it in the chat right now. Hey, Vijay, how's it going? So if you have anything to say, if you have any questions, things like that, like Vijay just said, even if you want to throw a hi up in there, feel free to just throw it in there. And we'd love to interact with you all and make this as interactive as possible. And then we'll have time, at the end, but then throughout for questions, especially when it comes to Vlad, because Vlad's the one that actually built this AI agent. So Vlad, before we get started, if you wouldn't mind, just for those that haven't met you before, could you just give a brief introduction?
Yeah, sure. Hi, everybody. My name is Vlad. I'm based in Romania, if that's of any curiosity. And I'm working as a solution architect slash solutions engineer slash everything else. But mainly what I'm doing is I'm identifying pain points from customers' use cases, and I'm trying to actually create and architect the agents in order to support them going forward. So basically, that's what I do on a day-to-day basis. And when I'm not doing that, I'm building other agents, internal ones for the company.
Yeah, exactly. And we're all very thankful for that. So thanks for joining us today, Vlad. We'll dive into all that you built. But at first, I would like to kind of go over just a quick, small presentation with everyone to set the stage here of why we're here, why it's important, the what, hows, all the above, on why this is the time to start looking into, especially building AI agents for your business. So just a quick agenda for everyone. We're going to be going over some of the legacy problems with data normalization, what's going on in the data world, and then we're going to introduce our EverWorker V2 platform to everybody, as that came out last week, or 2 weeks ago, excuse me. So going over all that is new when it comes down to EverWorker V2. And then we'll get into Vlad actually introducing the agent and going over the demo, and then we'll go into some use cases on how to actually add this to your business infrastructure, as well as our free certification. We'll go over that at the very end, and then leave some time for some Q&A. But like I said before, if you have questions in the meantime, just throw them in there. We'd love to answer them live. So first things first is that we believe that your next data engineer is an AI worker. And this is going to be because, as you see here, bad data costs organizations an average of $12.9 million per year, according to Gartner. And data scientists are, according to Medium, spending about 50 to 80% of their time on the most boring part of their job, which is going to be all of these manual tasks, which if you're a data engineer, I'm sure that you can empathize with that. As well as automated data management programs have been found that they can actually increase your kind of return, your ROI, your return on investment, 348% over 3 years. Now, that's, of course, a very specific example, just talking about what Forrester has found with working with some of their partners. But the same thing applies, is that when you automate these data normalization tasks, data engineering tasks, data analyzation tasks, the ROI is actually quite exponential. But then that kind of gets into introducing EverWorker V2. Who is EverWorker? What do we do? All of the above. So when we look at AI initiatives, if you're at a large organization, I have been at large organizations in the past, and I'm sure a lot of you are at an organization or a leader at your company, and you've seen this firsthand. 80+% of AI initiatives fail, and that begs the question, why? And a lot of it comes down to the internal IT and engineering teams going back and forth with your product team, trying to more or less play telephone on, hey, we'd like for you to add this. Okay, get in line. Everyone else wants us to do that for them as well. Back and forth. Lots of time and lots of resources allocated towards that. As well as you're also going to external AI consultants who are probably doing the same thing. You're just trying to tell them exactly what you want, and then they're coming back with not exactly what you want, go back and forth. And it's kind of just a reciprocal process there. But then also there's the whole idea of like vertical agents versus horizontal agents. Vertical agents being that it is very uber specific tasks. Like in this case, a data normalization agent would be in that vertical of data engineering. And when it's just a grab off the shelf, throw it into your ecosystem, that there's no ability to transform it and make it hyper specific to you, obviously you can see why there would be problems. And fundamentally, the problem being that all three of these approaches treat AI workforce creation as a technical problem to be solved by technical people, when you know, I know, we all know that rather than just handing it to the technical people, it also needs to be the people that are on the front lines, in the trenches, doing the work. They know what needs to be done. And they know what needs to be added onto these systems for them to succeed. And that's where EverWorker makes it easier than ever to actually employ AI workers. And let me just kind of break it down here, that the reason we call employing AI workers rather than like deploying AI workers is that we believe that AI workers are fundamentally different than AI agents because they do more holistic work for you and with you, augmenting every human that uses them. Rather than just doing task, you can actually create them in such a way where it's a whole AI workforce, where we'll go into that. But it is all with no engineering that is required. Now, obviously, you can code, you can do all that if you would like into our system, but it is not required. So like Vlad obviously uses code when he does this because he knows how to code. Me, I don't know how to code, so I don't use them. But even I have the ability to create these sophisticated AI workers as well. And this is all going to be completely tailored to your business. The whole idea is that you take your infrastructure, you take all your data, you take your teams, and you put them into these workflows so that anyone that has the ability and has, let's say, the authentication to create these AI workers, they can. And you have the expertise built in, which is going to be like us, Vlad, myself, the other solutions engineers, here to help you, especially through these weekly live streams that anyone can kind of jump in and start to learn from. But then it begs the question, what is an AI workforce? An AI workforce, think about it this way. This is an org chart. You have your normal org chart, CEO, CMO, CFO, COO, and then you have their reciprocating team members underneath of them. Same thing can apply to AI. So you have your CEO has their own AI worker of their CEO AI worker, and then your CMO has their own AI worker, and so on and so forth, so that you have basically a whole other arm of your workforce that is augmented, not just replaced, augmented by AI workers to help alongside. We're all used to having to do more with less resources. The whole idea here with EverWorker is to do more with more than you've ever thought possible, to give you more capacity and everything to help you actually succeed in this. And the way that we actually do this and deliver this easiest path, best ROI, fastest time to market, is that it gives you the people that are in the trenches, like I said, they have the ability to be a part of this process of creating these AI workers so that you know it's hyper-specific to what you're looking for. But then as well as we know that companies who become AI first, we're always talking about that with our CEO and everyone else in a lot of the interviews that I do. Those are the people that are actually going to succeed in the market first and foremost. And we know that the AI workforce is not only going to be for the technical, but for the actual business user as well. So what this means is that if you're a marketing director in this case, let's just use that as an example because I'm in marketing, so it's just the easiest example to talk about. You know the work that has to be done, therefore the result being that you can be the one that creates these sophisticated AI workers. And obviously a huge part of this is going to be working with your IT team, your AI engineers, whatever it may be, but you don't actually need to offload everything to them because if you're here and you're listening and you're in the IT organization, you know that you're busy. Super busy, especially in a time with AI right now. So what's new real quick in EverWorker V2 is going to be kind of 4 main topics: the EverWorker Creator, which is where we believe is kind of a first-in-class system where instead of just even our old V1 product and most products that most people are having to do, where you're coding by hand and or even just having a low code, no code option where you can drag and drop. Yes, we have that, but you can also interact via chat so that you can just use normal human language to actually create these AI workers. Then we have our universal workers that function as your team leads that can actually call these specialized AI workers to actually, have a marketing universal worker. And then underneath of that, you have, then you have your content generation, then you have your email out campaign AI workers. And there's just multiple different AI workers to create that AI workforce. Your universal worker is that team lead, the manager over top of all of them to work alongside them. And then as well as we have our universal connector, which is going to be the ability to connect to any system with an API. As long as there's an API to it, you can call it. And then also we have a whole new UI around our B2 as well. But with all that said and done, Vlad, I'm going to bring you back in over here. And as we do this, I'd love for, first and foremost, just to hear exactly what is this data normalization AI worker? Why'd you build it? What's your background in data to kind of why you built it in the first place? All that.
So let me put it this way. I had a couple of interested customers, potential customers, asking if it is possible to do this with this kind of agent and within our platform. And then also my personal experience from previous jobs, since I've always been working for startups. Even if you want or you don't want, you still end up, dealing with data, especially if you know how to code, So actually, what I've experienced in the past is that when you have to work with, thousands of rows, hundreds of thousands of rows of data, it's like most of the times you need to clean that data. You need to clean it and re-clean it and re-clean it and get rid of the bad data and, missing fields and stuff like that. So you basically need to normalize all the data. So why not doing that with the help of AI? I think, this can definitely help you out. First of all, optimizing the performance and making it much faster. And second of all, is like imagine that you don't really have to deal with all those hundreds of thousands of rows when AI can actually do that for you.
Yep.
So what I used to do in the past, it was to actually use Python to do that. And to be honest with you, it's like when when ChatGPT, for example, was launched, like end of 2022, something like that. I'd like to believe that I was among the first people that were actually using AI for coding, bits and pieces of parts that I needed to in order to fulfill my job. So
Sure.
now it's even easier with the help of the LLMs that we have in the platform, because everything can be done through natural language. And like in this example that I have here, for example, I'm taking as input like 3 different data sources. So I'm taking something from SAP, something from Dynamics ERP, and something from NetSuite ERP. And what I'm doing next is that I'm using all of them come under CSV format, just to make sure we're aligned on that. And what I'm doing next, I'm using a read CSV node, which then it's actually parsing the information through the serialized JSON node, so we can actually be able to pass it through the LLM node, which it's being given a simple system prompt where you're explaining it what you want to do, what the tasks are, how to normalize the fields, what to handle, and how to validate the records. And then the output, it's as easy as return a single clean JSON string with the normalized data. Respond only with a clean JSON. And the cool part is that once it does that, which is obviously pretty easy for an LLM to do, it's actually, within our platform, you're able to download it as a CSV again, the
Okay.
whole file, the whole thing. So basically, you combine 3 different sources into one single file, and this only at a click away.
Okay.
So yeah, what we can actually run it. I don't have much data; it's dummy data, so it's like a couple of customers, because that's what I'm
Yep.
working with here. But as you can see, it's actually moving quite fast. And
Sure.
then yeah, we're using here the 4.1, and normally you can use the 4.1 because of the size of the context, where you can see here it has up to 1.47 million tokens. And anyway, this is done. And what I'll do next is, you can see it down here where you have the file. You can actually copy the URL like this. And once you put it in, it will download the file.
All right.
There you go.
Yep, very cool.
And now it's opening it as well. So of course, this one, it's also adding some normalization comments, because that's what I asked it to do initially. But what it did, it got me the data from all the other all those sources, and like it normalized it as like having the customer ID, customer name, invoice number, amount, and currency together with the
Okay.
data. Yeah.
With all of this, Vlad, kind of like what you actually just even mentioned, with all these different nodes, and we've seen you do it, live, like in our last live stream we did together last month, was, being able to change and modify each of these LLMs and the system prompts to be, exactly what you are looking for. So like, since you have experience in, working with data, having to do that in a more manual way, traditionally speaking, is it something that's pretty common for most people, that they would want to be able to have, let's say, like you said, you wanted to have comments added in, so you asked for it to make comments for
obviously,
the ability to actually change it?
Obviously, imagine otherwise you would have to actually code in and explain in the code that you want to create a different column where you have to put this kind of information, but you have to merge it from different parts. Because, for example, let's say that SAP has a different format than the Dynamics or the NetSuite. So then you have to clean that data, merge it, put it in, and then get another file where you would probably have to clean that again because some of the data wouldn't be parts correct. So, with the help of the LLM, that in our platform, I think it's much easier and much faster.
And with us talking about the universal connector before, and obviously your experience working with actual customers to integrate their systems into our platform, this is the kind of idea where, like, maybe for this example, obviously I just asked what's the easiest example that you can give us, basically, rather than having to manually throw in the CSVs and also have it just output to a CSV, could you then connect both in the beginning and at the end these different databases and services?
Absolutely, and it's seamless. Everything done through REST APIs. So as long as the system has a REST API, we can easily connect with. And there are two ways that you can do that with the Node Designer, the API one, which you just come in here, you press the Node Designer, and then you just give it the curl command, and it will just actually generate it by default for you. So you wouldn't have to do it, or else you can do it manually. You can add the data in here, or else if you want, we also have a code executor node, which has access to internet as well, and you can create there too if you feel like you want to go the traditional way. But the Node Designer is meant to simplify the whole process for you.
Yeah, and our new platform especially will make this even easier for everyone, as as it starts to roll out to all of our customers and stuff. Is the whole idea is we know that the importance of everyone, kind of, especially in in an organization in the enterprise world, being able to connect to your different systems in an easy and easily understood format. That's probably where most people are obviously going to want to use it, and that's very important per use case, is to be able to connect to your system. So with all that, kind of, Vlad, I actually want to jump back into here and ask you, since you do this every single day, how exactly do you go about talking to potential customers on how they can approach applying AI workers, and in this case, maybe a data normalization worker, into their business? How do you help them reframe that and think about where they can throw these in?
It's way easier than most of the people think. It's like you just take like a normal day-to-day process that you're going through, something that could be repetitive maybe, or something that you do on autopilot. So you take that, you explain it in pure natural language, and then like we'll take it from there. It's actually way easier than you can think of. It's like, and almost anything can be solved with the help of AI or done. Either we're talking about automations, or we're talking about writing data or pulling data, or whatever you can think of. It can easily be achieved with our platform.
Yeah, I feel like that's something that we talk about. Oftentimes even Peter in all of the interviews that I do with Peter, our CEO, for everyone to know, is that he's always encouraging people to basically figure out. Let's say Vlad is my manager and he has a task that he wants me to actually do. Is that just like as you would explain, Vlad would explain it to me. If you can explain it and it's in an actual process that an intern or someone like on your team would understand, that's a perfect example of how you can then just teach an AI worker basically to do that job as well. As long as it's repeatable and the fact that you can understand it and teach someone to do it, then that's a perfect example of where to throw in AI workers.
And you know what? The beauty of it is that you can even have some missing links in the process, but like the way the way we're building it, like we're gonna help you figure those things out as well.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So like nonetheless, like you're gonna get the whole process maybe even better than you thought or improved. So
Yeah.
sometimes I even think like what we were doing before without AI, like
Right.
seriously.
Exactly. I agree. I agree. And it's even like really cool with like I was going over in the beginning, our new EverWorker creator, which is just the natural, human language chatbot interface that we are also used to seeing, and how you can then create AI workers and it will do it for you, just explaining it exactly what you're looking for. And you can kind of just be like, 1, I want you to do this. 2, I want you to do this. 3, I want you to do this. And as you go through it, it will actually also even give you some suggestions, like you just said. Like it'll
Yeah.
be a helper in that process. So it makes it super
And
easy
it's
for everybody.
it's even providing the chain of thought, which
Yeah.
like it's even better because it knows the
Yep.
context, it knows where to look, it knows how to apply whatever it's doing. So it's not actually losing context, as we've seen in the past, and this was something, or one of the biggest issues up until recently, with LLMs hallucinating and losing context, right? Quite
Of
easily.
course. Yep, of course. So this kind of brings up the next thought, basically. So like with Vlad talking about, hey, if there's a process that you can explain, it can be used as an AI worker. Here are just some random examples that I came up with before this, and these are just completely random. It can be completely dependent on what you want. These are obviously just my ideas, but like fraud and anomaly detection based off of looking at your data. And going through it and being like, okay, there's a high likelihood, like a lot of banks are having to go through this right now. There's a high likelihood of fraud happening because of X, Y, and Z. It can actually tell you why, things like that.
We've built something similar. It was
Oh,
not necessarily fraud and anomaly detection, but it was compliance. So
oh yeah, yep,
yeah.
exactly. Exactly. And then there's the idea of predictive analytics and forecasting for the future based off of your data, which is, I'm sure most people are used to seeing at this point, as well as data enrichment and semantic reconciliation, because these LLMs have a brain and they can actually reason and work basically based off of text. And this is all to give the idea of that AI workforce that we were going over in the beginning with the AI org chart as well. Is like, sure, each of these things could be their own vertical agent, but the true power really does come when you start connecting all of the different workers together so that they're making an actual team. It's like it's your Avengers of AI, basically, of being able to have exactly, each one has their superpower and their own unique abilities to do things, and then you put them all together to make an actual team. That's kind of where the true beauty of all this comes in.
I would even say that that's the beauty of it, like breaking things into multiple tasks that you have specialized, workforce for.
Yep, exactly. And that kind of begs the next question of like, okay, we've heard Austin and Vlad talk about these things. I'm interested, basically. These are kind of our main ways that we can help you, right now. We can start right now. Is we do have our discovery workshops, which is where we work with you and your leadership team, whoever you want to be there, obviously, to actually figure out some POCs that would be useful for you to actually see, and we help you along the way of figuring that out to then build them for you so that you can see them. That's one thing. Then there's the whole idea of just the normal AI worker creation, which is where Vlad works every single day, is like, this is what we want. We want you to do it. You guys are the experts, almost like using us as your consultancy in that case, handing it off to Vlad, and Vlad, working with you to figure out exactly what you're looking for, create it for you, iteratively, because that's a huge thing of this is usually not one shot, going back and forth, figuring out, making sure that it's exactly to your specifications, and our team can help you with that. But then also we have our on-site and online training, which is all going to be done through our EverWorker Academy, which is our way of teaching everyone how to think about AI workers, how to think about the AI workforce, and actually start augmenting their own work with AI workers because of learning about it. And that kind of brings up the whole idea of our AI fundamentals for business professionals. That is a free course for everyone to take that you can learn, like it says, the AI fundamentals that a business professional would actually need to know. And it would give you the knowledge and teach you how to even just start thinking about these problems so that you can be the force for change at your business, whether you're the leader or you're just an individual contributor at your business. We believe that through EverWorker's platform, as well as our training, it will train everyone and allow everyone to be a true AI leader. So that's kind of where we all encourage you all, if you would like to take advantage of this free course, once again, like I always say, free, that should be the big buzzword, head over to workeracademy.ai, and you can actually just sign up right there and start taking the course. It's about 120 minutes, so about 2 hours over to 3 hours, depending on how slowly you want to do it. So easily digestible, you can do it in one day, and great information for everyone to learn from. But then that brings up, let's bring the whole idea of any questions and answers. If there's any questions that anyone has about any of this process, now can be the time. You can throw it in the comments. You can leave something in the chat, anything if you're interested, and we can have Vlad kind of answer live. But then if anything, if you'd like to request a demo, you can head over to everworker.ai and actually request a personalized demo of our platform and seeing how we can actually help you in this instance. But I don't see any questions for us, Vlad. So thank you very much for joining us again this month and showing us a little bit about something that maybe a lot of people are interested in, which is data normalization. So thanks a lot for building it and for being a part of this.
A pleasure as usual. Thank you for having me. And whoever feels like they want to get in contact, don't hesitate to reach out on LinkedIn as well, or just reach out to us, and we'll definitely go for a demo.
Absolutely. Well, thank you everyone for joining, and of course we'll have this replay up on our website and YouTube, and if something on LinkedIn, wherever it is, for anyone to rewatch. You can share it with others. Make sure to like and follow to our YouTube channel, to our Instagram page, to our LinkedIn page, of course, all the shameless plugs, and we'll see you next week. Thanks a lot. See you later, bud.
Bye.